everyone. How's it going? I'm back with another broken printer. Well, not really. I actually got it working. So there. No, yeah. So, but doing something completely like different right now. Basically, I'm trying to solve a problem. I have a 3D printer. The problem is actually the 3D printer itself. So that's what's happening on that side of things. But what's going on is this. Let me switch cameras here. Whoa, you don't need to see that. We'll open those doors for you, let you get right in there. Have a good look. So, this is the problem. Hey Jeff, welcome to the stream. The problem is the filament sensor in the tool head. It's flaky. It'll work 1,000 times. And then of course, if there's just once it doesn't work, well, the whole thing's gone down the tube, right? It just didn't work, so yeah, it would stop. And that would be the end of the print. Because in order to get it to work again, you seem to need to take it apart. So right now, what I've gone and done is I've gone and made a little thing. I made a thing. You can't see it, but there it is. That's the thing I made. And it's a, what am I gonna call it? Now I need to come up with a name for it. The pressure is on. It's like a mini buffer. And you know, basically it works like this. I've got a broken one here that I didn't notice didn't print properly. So, well, actually it's not even the final version. So, on each end of this, I put a Bowden, what do they call it? In there. So that'll basically hold a Bowden tube right there. In this case, it actually holds it right inside that other tube. This one's a bad one because it doesn't actually fit. Bowden tube. Yeah. Doesn't work. That it's a bad one, so because it doesn't work. And then same thing here. So that would plug in there, and it would go through, not to the whole end, but basically, once I have these put together and attached with some type of elasticy thing, an elasticy thing. I went with elastics, elastic bands. I was going to use springs, but you know, springs are made for compression, so there would, yeah, it just wouldn't have worked out well, I don't think. But you could have used a spring to, no, you couldn't. No, I'm wrong. So basically what happens is when you tape some filament, and the problem we're trying to solve here is this. I don't need to have a filament sensor in there. This thing never fails pushing filament down. What I need is a way to make up the difference between a filament that's slightly, you know, like filament's not all the same. Like, we know that. And you know, the pressure on these are not all the same. The number of times it runs in and out of the thing is not the same. So all these things contribute to, you know, flatter filament, more being pushed, less being pushed, and of course that would cause a problem. So what this does is basically it buffers it. Just by, you know, maximum 20 centimeters, 20 millimeters, not centimeters. That's like, it doesn't do that. Just, you know, about that much. About that much. So it'll buffer it, and that way, when this stops pushing and this starts pulling, it'll just bring it back up. And I have done a little bit of testing. Hey, poor boy. We're doing this. I built this little thing, which is basically a mini buffer. It's a buffer, yeah, it's a buffer, that's what it is. So, I got a chair here because I'm gonna be sitting here messing with the keyboard and stuff. I don't know why the camera's not good. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We are going to be taking a look, because I can actually load this right now. It will work. Well, let me heat it up, because that's going to be a requirement. You see the screen? So, this is what's going on. I'm probably going to have to zoom this in to... So what we have here is we basically have the configuration of this, excluding the filament sensor called IR sensor, because it's configured in the main file, because it's part of the it was part of the install of the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder, which was originally going to go on here, but is now on the Ender Switchwire. Or Ender wire, or whatever it's called. So I had already gone in here, you know, we've commented out a bunch of stuff. We've basically customized this to do what we need to do. And this worked. This basically works just fine. The failure's never been a software failure. I've printed through hundreds of changes, filament changes, without any issues at all. Hey, Bert. And so we know that's a thing. We know that works. The only failure that I've ever had, you know, other than, you know, first layer failure, you know, starting failures after a print's got going, is that damn filament sensor failing. I've never printed anything with this many changes before, so, you know, and you can see why it fails. When you take it apart, there's like little tiny bits of plastic in there. It's just not the place to have a washer. It's basically a washer moving by a Hall sensor. It just gets pushed out of the way, stops the magnetic field, and you know, that's how it works. But it doesn't work. It works right now, but it won't work in an hour. So, wow, my camera is really small. I should make that camera bigger. I'm guessing I was at 4K at one point. No, I'm not. But whatever. That's not really the point. So what we want to do today is do a little bit of testing, make sure everything's working. I'm pretty sure it is. And then we want to go in here and change. Where is it? It's LT. Load tool. So basically, when it calls T0, so if for people who aren't used to MMUs, basically all that's in your G code is, hey, Griffin's Closet, or Griffin. I should just call you Griffin because it's the closet print from, never mind. Hey, Griffin. So it calls T0. And what will happen then is it'll basically select tool, the first tool, and then it'll run the filament down. T1, well, it'll unload what's loaded right now, and it'll run the filament from T1 down. So I'm hoping everything's good to go here, because I set this up 2 days ago. I just haven't got, not 2 days ago. God, it was Saturday. Yeah, oh well. Yeah. So, let's see if this works. Let's just see if we can load up T0. Where is console? Console. Is it heated up? Yeah, it's heated up. That's awfully large. What do I want to do here? Okay, so we're going to go T0. And we're going to see what happens. So what? It should basically complain and say that it wasn't homed. Yeah, okay, thanks. And then it goes into this. So there's something in the software that's allowing it to get to places that it shouldn't. Filament, not an extruder, unselect, pausing. It puts it into a horrible state just immediately, mainly because it's not homed. And like, come on. If it's not homed, call home. Don't put the thing into like the worst state it could possibly be in. So there's one thing we need to fix. But we're not going to concentrate on that. We're going to concentrate on getting this thing. Can't home. It's paused. Unlock. There we go. Oh yeah, this MMU uses a system of. Oh, something didn't run. Something didn't run. Thing did not move. Motor did not turn on. Okay. Let's try that again. Something, what is going on? Like, it's literally not working. Like, it's just not doing what it's supposed to do at all. I'm gonna restart. I don't know what's going on really. But of course it's happening. Maybe I need to home this first. So we should hear a horrible grinding sound, followed by another horrible grinding sound. And instead it does this. Oh. These MMUs are just so much fun. Filament ejected, homing paused action. Why? Why? Filament stuck in Pinda. Why is the filament stuck in Pinda? How is the filament stuck in Pinda? It's because the filament's stuck in Pinda. Why would you think it would be? Okay, filament not stuck in Pinda anymore? Can I unlock? Home. There's the screeching sound we're looking for. Everything's good. Huh? Yeah, can't you tell? So let's go back into the code and take a look to see what we can come up with here. So basically this is what I'm going to run first is T0. Again, T0. Loading filament. So it should go to the Pinda. Loading to Pinda. It's going past this thing, and as it gets to here, this should stretch out. Huh? You're not seeing that. Oh, you missed it. Come on, I should pay more attention. So it worked. But of course, there is actually a filament sensor in there right now. But we need to take that out of the equation. And one thing I actually thought of was building a switch into this thing, so that as soon as it started to expand, it would be like, hey, we're at the motor, or we're at the extruder motor, and it would be wired up to the board, and we'd be able to respond to that as we move this thing forward. It would basically be an end stop. An inline end stop for pushing filament to the motor. And that's what I'm going to work towards. This is phase one. This is just getting the physical pieces working. And considering phase 0 failed so miserably, I got so many half Santa Clauses, it's ridiculous. You'd think I hated Santa Claus. So, we're going to try T1. And I know there's not a lot to see, though I am going to try to pull this back a bit so we can at least see something. So it should pull the filament out. This should be like it's not even there. I actually coned the inside of one piece of Bowden tube or PTFE, and I made them so they fit together so that it basically loading to Pinda, and you'll see this thing expand as it gets down there. Right there, it expanded. So, like I said, if I had a switch on that, I would immediately know, hey, we're at the motor. So we don't have to worry about the thing down there. But of course, like Santa's legs anyway. But right now, if we look at this, we're going to see detected. If I unload, we'll see that change. And that's basically how it's going to know. In our case, we're not going to know. It's never failed because we didn't know. It's only ever failed because this thing didn't want to do what it does. So what's going on now? Unknown command. Huh? Oh, UT. It's untool. Unload filament. So we'll see now that that's set to empty. So the failure point would be that that thing doesn't roll back down, it never gets set to empty, and the only way to fix that is to completely disassemble the unit. So that's what we're trying to avoid. So we want to get rid of IR sensor from this equation. So I think the first thing to do is, let's search for it. So load filament in extruder. That's what we're looking for. Load filament in extruder. Is filament in extruder. So we're going to be making a lot of assumptions here. We're going to assume the length, and any difference will be taken up by the buffer, which is a buffer right now, but eventually will be a switch. We're going to assume that once it gets to the motor and we push filament down, that it's at the extruder. So this is just not going to do anything anymore. Guess I shouldn't double. Let's just do that. So that's gone. It's still there. I don't want to have to go through and delete everything yet. That'll be done in a like a little bit of a cleanup phase. So is filament stuck in extruder? Basically, this is the opposite of the other one. My squeaking keyboard. So what else we got here? Eject from extruder. If it's paused and it is in the extruder, try ejecting it. Unload filament with ramming. It's the only thing there I see that's of any use. Well, other than checking if it's paused. So I'm going to just hashtag or, comment that out. We'll still just do all this. We're going to check the extruder temperature, do everything like that. Like it was before. Unload filament in extruder with ramming. Filament not an extruder. Okay, so these have to go as well. Hey, Zax. Okay, eject before home. Do we need an eject before home? I don't think we need an eject before home. At all. That's a 3. Hey, Eric. Did I get an extra one? Oh, I did. I did. Thank you. You guys are my code review. home. Okay, so home says basically disable the infrared sensor. Who cares? Set the home to value 1. Query end stops. Eject before home. Well, we all know what that does. Does it do the home? No, it just does the eject, right? You just eject. Eject is filament stuck in extruder. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. So, no, we don't need that. It does nothing. See? Nothing. Query end stops. Why not? Home MMU only, and we don't need this anymore. We don't need it. Homing idler. I see nothing wrong with that. Validate MMU state. This is my code. Part of it is, I think. So, you know, if nothing's selected, it's going to say nothing's loaded. There's no sensor anymore, so we can't say whether or not the tool head's empty. We're going to make assumptions. Printer query end stops last, manual stepper geared, blah, 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 blah. Get rid of that before I screw it up. Actually, no, I should probably get rid of the right one. Just so my brain, like, you know. So, okay, so it can check the PINDA. That's all it can check now. Okay, so IR sensor next. IR sensor, what are we doing here? Filament detected. We can't do that anymore. Retry. This is okay. So this is where we're getting to it. This is the. There is no retry. There is only do or not do. So do we just do we find, oh, let's do a quick check. I think retry. Next is retry unload. Is filament an extruder? No, we're still at retry unload. Every time I scroll it, it finds the same one. Everything else is commented out, except for that one. Which says to me that, wait a minute, no, retry load filament in extruder, retry unload filament in extruder. Okay, so there's two of them. Unload and load. So let's look at the where retry is called. Where are we getting this retry from? If the filament is not detected by the infrared, call retry 3 times. Load filament and extruder. So what are we doing here? Where are we at this point in time? We're at the extruder. So we're gonna say, okay, G91 and move 20. For some reason, I'm like thinking 20 might not cut it. 20 is just probably not enough. I think that's going to be like, that's gonna just push it down and it's gonna end up calling retry over and over and over again. Right? I wonder. So let's comment out the retry. And let's look at this. So we're manually doing a move of 20. And then we're doing an extrude of 20. Extrude of 20. G92. G90. And what did retry do? Move 10. Okay, so retry unload. It's just negatives. How does that work? Okay, so what I'm going to do is instead of 20 here, like I don't know why this is done like this. Unselect tool. Why we call unselect tool? What does unselect tool do? Is filament an extruder? I don't know. I don't think that's gonna yeah, that's not gonna do anything for you. Okay, so 20 becomes, I'm gonna go with 50. Load the filament into the extruder, 50. Okay, retry unload. Well, let's first get rid of the retry unload calls in the unload. And it just says roll back 60 after rolling back 20. It's calling is filament stuck in an extruder. Yeah, we don't know. Extruder? Stuck? Filament? What's filament? Motors, go. Okay, so that looks like it. I don't know what this is. What is that, and where is it used? Unload filament and extruder with ramming. Calls ramming slicer and then unload filament and extruder. Interesting. Okay, well. I'm gonna save and close this, and restart. Maybe I'll save and close just in case it doesn't close right. Okay, it did. Okay. Did I have filament in there? No, I really hope I didn't have filament in there. It's really bad at starting off with filament in there. It makes massive assumptions. Well, I guess now we have to make assumptions because we don't have a filament sensor. About what's going on in the world when it starts. So we end up starting with filament in there, and it's going to be all panicky. It's empty. Is it empty though? Pinda's lit up. Okay, Pinda's good. It's empty. Everything seems to be in a known state. Nothing's broken yet. Let's see if we can break something. I guess the printer won't break. It's just what's going to happen here. T0. No. I know better than that. Unlock, just in case. Home. I love that sound. At least I'm gonna keep telling myself that. Okay, so let's move this thing up just a little bit. Maybe not that much. Well, no, we need to move it up that much. It needs to be able to go and print things, so it needs to be able to go like that. So T0, bring it on. Loading filament to Pinda. Loading filament. Okay, so now we're down to the motor. Okay, so that thing, you know, could be smoother, I guess. And if I were to press extrude right now, I think I could press extrude. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's press extrude. I think I would get filament. I'm pretty sure that goo would come out of the bottom of there. Definitely. Okay, so while after goo is done, we're just going to directly hit T1. And it failed. Failed. Unloading done from Pinda. Unloading done from extruder to MMU. Filament stuck in Pinda. How filament stuck in Pinda? Oh! Oh, okay, so what's going on? Why won't filament come out of anywhere? Okay. Well, that's not a good thing at all. Why is there a big, huge flat piece? Well, that would break everything, no matter what. As it's done already right now. Broken it real good. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened there. It was kind of weird. So now what do we need to do? We need to unlock. Yeah, see though, I think that's why it does it in multiple phases, is because if you pull it back too fast, it's still melty when it's pulling up through everything, and it can leave a mess behind. What, flush cutters? Voron? X? Those flush cutters. So I'm almost wondering if I should be calling that that thing that, you know, does the ramming. Actually, let me leave that out. And I'm going to call unload filament from extruder to Pinda. What, how? Are you kidding me? It did the unload, but of nothing. So that's not a check we removed. Okay. It's gonna say I got a home if I want to select a tool. So yeah, it's in one of those I'm not gonna do anything moods. It's like, you can't tell me what to do. It's basically what it's doing right now. Because you can't. It won't. It's just in a state where it's decided that nothing can be done about it. Okay, so I've manually pulled everything back. So what happened there? What did we change? Okay, I know what needs to change. I think. I mean, I don't really know, but I think I know. When we do the remove, you know, it does those 2 steps. I think the second step needs to be bigger. So retry load. We're not doing that anymore. Load filament. That seemed to work. That 50. We got 20. We got a move of 20. I don't know if that's steps or what. But minus 20 and then minus 60. So we go slow here. Actually, we go slow once. Actually, it does push a tiny bit of filament first. But I guess that would be into a purge tower anyway. And then we go slow again. Like, that's not 2 millimeters, I don't think. Let's go minus 100, because it's not going to matter. Minus 100, it's just going to go, it's going to make it out. The thing will spin empty. And then we can pull it out, right? Or at least that's what my brain says. I'm probably wrong. We're going to run into more problems. Oh. Okay, T0. Load to Pinda. Load to Pinda complete. Okay. Now, let's not go to T1. Let's just do unload tool. It is UT, right? Unloading filament. I was going to say nothing happened there. The tool head did nothing at all. No movements. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing nothing for you. I need like an X-ray of where the X-ray of that right now, so I can tell where the filament is. What the hell? What is going on? What is, like, seriously? There's something wrong there, like seriously wrong. Okay, maybe... No, I can't do that. That's not gonna work. Again, like some of the logic behind all this is so brain twisting and as it's currently applied, probably flawed, but it just failed, right? So right now, paused. Says it right there. Filament stuck in Pinda, action paused. But if the filament's stuck in Pinda, why have you got everything all locked so I can't move any filament? Why is it your choice to keep the filament that's currently active locked down so that you can't do anything with it? Like, the code literally says, go get a frickin' Allen key or an Allen wrench and fix it manually. Is basically what it says. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna ignore that, of course. I'm gonna unlock the damn thing. And now it's like, oh, what were you doing before? Well, who cares? Who cares? We've unlocked the thing, let's pretend nothing's wrong. And of course now, the problem is, the filament is there, it's selectable. Yeah, so how? Okay. Let's go back into the macro that does the retry and see if there's something I've obliterated that's really important. Retry load. I don't think there's anything wrong with the load. I think the load is working just fine. Retry unload. Oh, okay. So, yeah, could be me. I put the thing in the wrong place. G4 P1000, so that's like pause for a second. Okay, well, let's manually pull all that filament out, because there's no other way to fix this right now. Actually, you know what I should do? I should make a macro that I can go, like, you know, there's select tool where it'll actually do the physical thing, and then have a macro to say set actual tool, like set tool. And say I can say set tool value 1, and it'll just go, oh, I'm on tool 1, without messing everything up. And, you know, because as you can imagine, I can't do anything here. This is literally completely locked down. Such a state that it's like completely unusable, just because there's filament. Okay. Like that. Okay. Let's see. Let's what's the thing we can do? We can do a home. Yay! The happy noise. The happy printer noise. It's not a happy printer noise. So let's switch it up and load T1 instead. Oh, fuck no. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yes, yeah. Yeah. Loading done from MMU to extruder. No, no, it's not. It's paused. It's not homed. And it's done loading. Oh my God, the information it gives you is awful. This is what it's telling me. Filament not in Pinda, paused. Printer is not homed. Loading done to Pinda. Loading done from MMU to extruder. And what's actually happened? In reality, that's what happened. Filament pushed out the side because something didn't move. Why something didn't move? I don't know. I have no idea. But my only way to fix it is to literally restart the damn thing. And that's just so frustrating. So yeah, there's a lot to fix here. It's not just a filament sensor, it's not just that. It's like the logic behind the whole thing is just slightly off. So that we need to basically change everything. And of course, I'm going to have to take it apart to figure out what's going on and why this is a thing. Because I don't believe this should have happened this way. I thought this should have just loaded fine. Yeah, there's no reason that shouldn't have loaded just fine. There's nothing in its way. Unless somehow it wasn't rolled back all the way. But of course, then how if it wasn't rolled back all the way, did we change from 1 to 2 before? Oh, I'm letting the heat go away. I'm losing my heat. I'm losing my heat. Okay, so at this point, all we've actually done is recover from the last. Yeah. So we're now nowhere near fixed. I should be able to do this home. Yeah. And now T0. It's loaded to Pinda. I can see that. Done loading. Loading done from Pinda to extruder. Loading done from MMU to extruder. It's still doing it. It literally says load complete. And we have no idea that's happened. So I think it loaded. We can actually check. We can go to the the infrared, the IR sensor. It's not an IR sensor. It's a Hall sensor. It just was called that in the code. So instead of renaming it throughout the entire set of code, I just renamed it in one place. So now I just want to unload the tool. And nothing's happening, by the way. Nothing. Literally nothing. It's done the same damn thing. So how did this go from How did this go from working just fine with a filament sensor to commenting out the code that uses the filament sensor to now creating a ball of plastic on the end of here? How did we go from the one to the other? Because again, it's just done the same damn thing. It's just created a damn ball of plastic on the end. How? Like, I'm pretty sure that if I were to go into the thing and go retract 20, and then go to 50 and go retract, it wouldn't do this. But somehow in that code, it's now decided that there needs to be a blob of plastic on the end of the filament. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I think what's more frustrating is that it leaves it in such a state that, like, as soon as you get to this point, it's like, oh, hey, guess what? You're at least 5 minutes away from trying again. Haha. I think that's the frustrating thing, is the reset. The reset to do it again. Because right now, it hasn't left this in a good state. It's like left it so this is jammed up completely. The only way for me to unjam it erases its knowledge of what it was doing. Yeah, this is just bad macros right now that we're dealing with. So yeah, unlock. Okay, I don't know where I am anymore, is basically what it's done. If you were to ask it which tool it's on, it would say tool 0. So it knows it's on tool 0. No, it doesn't. It actually doesn't. If I were to say unload tool, it wouldn't, would it? UT0. The infrared, the filament sensor, it's already screwed up. See what I mean? That's like completely stupid, useless information. Unload tool. It goes, oh, unload tool 0. That's, which is what we want. And then it goes tool selected, unselected. Why? It's tool 0. It's what's selected. We want to unload the tool that we have selected. I don't think that's a thing. Yeah, see, this is what I hate about this thing. And it's the same thing with the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder. Like, a failure isn't just a failure. It's 15-20 minutes of BS trying to get it to work again. Because the macros just don't make sense. Nothing really makes sense. So how do you deal with that? Oh, come on. You're kidding me, right? So if I go select, I don't know what the thing is. I think it's select tool 1, what are you going to do? You're going to just ignore me. I'm pretty sure that's the macro. I don't want to load the tool. I want to... Yeah, select tool, value. That is the macro. So when I go select tool 1, I expect something to happen. Piece of feedback. Oh no, the world's coming to an end and I can't do this. Or, oh, pause. But no, the feedback you get is nothing. Nothing. Hey, swans. So, that's kind of useless. So what, my only option again is to frickin' restart the whole thing? I think I'm gonna have to ban MMUs from the channel. I think that's gonna end up being the bottom line. We're not allowed to talk about them. We're not allowed to work on them. They're just not allowed. Okay, so now what do we need to do? Oh yeah, we're back to what? I think we've been able to attempt to load filament 3 times? Let's go for a 4th time, but this time I'm gonna go into here retry unload filament. So I'm gonna comment this out and that. So if it's paused, I'm gonna be a real pain in your ass. If the extruder temperature, well, if the extruder isn't heated up, we're just gonna completely ignore what you asked for and not tell you a single thing. We're not gonna let you know what the command that you typed in didn't do anything at all. Sorry, I find that, you know, why would you do that to me? Yeah, I've just got reset. I haven't even been, I'm trying to get to the part where we load the filament back in to try that. I really am. That's what we're heading towards. But my frustrating point is this. Like, literally, that was asked, it's 6:38, right, 6:39, right, 6:40 right now, and Eric said that at 6:32. It's taken me like 8 minutes just to reset, to be able to make this thing do a thing again. That's my frustrating point about these MMUs. They don't just stop working. They stop working and basically destroy everything you've done, and make you restart from scratch. Like, I mean, to the point where you're literally pulling filament out of a printer manually, no matter what you do. If, you know, and then to get to a point where you're asking it to choose a tool and it's just ignoring you, you know, it's very, very frustrating to even touch these things. So if I go to select tool, for instance, select tool, where's select tool? Home. There is no select tool. I'll get it sorted out. Yeah, we will figure it out. There's no not figuring it out. Like, this bugs the crap out of me. What are you doing? What is unselect tool? Okay, unselect tool. Okay, so select tool and unselect tool. Unselect tool, now I realize what it does, is it rolls the selector so that none of the tools have a thing pushing on it. So that's what that does. Sorry, I'm all crouched over looking at code, just like in real life. So basically we're moving the gear at the top. This is at the top, at the MMU. So I just combined, so it moves it at the top 20, then it pulls the filament up 20 at a slow speed. Or no, it moves it down 20 and it moves this 20 too. Okay, so that's when you see the thing do its little jumpy thing. So that all works. So unload filament, it's going to check if we're paused, it's going to check the extruder, it's going to check the tool, and if it all passes, it's going to pull the filament up. Okay, so what we want to do then, let's comment that out. And then what I want to do is put this back to, what was it, 60? No, this one was 60 and this one was 50. Okay, so that's what we're going to do in the long run. No. That's right. I'm gonna save and restart, and then we'll home. We'll load filament 1, and then I'll pop open the thing and take out the filament manually, and then see what we find. Now, what it could be is that for some reason, when I'm pushing the filament in, I'm at some, at a bad number, and it's just pushing it to the wrong place. So 210, home. Okay, I can see a red light. Yeah, that. Okay, so T0. We know the load works. Right to the printhead. It's gonna go Pinda. There it goes. I can see the whole line wiggling. There's the stretch, there's the 20 and the 20 to eat it back up. It knows it's assuming it's down there and everything's good. Okay, so what we want to do is pretend none of this matters. We want to pop this open and pull the filament out. It's fine. It's just fine. Am I surprised? Kinda, yeah. But should I be? No. Oh, come on. Oh, I didn't, yeah. I guess I should have showed you the filament. It was perfect. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna extrude with it. And then I'm just gonna do a 5mm retract and type, or no, I'm gonna pull it manually again. And it's fine. Now, I will admit though, if I were to roll gears across that, it might not be fine. But again, we didn't extrude anything in any of those cases, so it shouldn't be a deal. So let's extrude again. So extrude's fine. Now, unload tool. Unloading filament. Why is it pushing? Well, it failed again. It failed because of the exact same reason as before. Because there's a big, huge frickin' blob of plastic on the end of this filament now. And now it can't get through somewhere. And in this case, it can't get through here. No, it can. It just stopped in the middle of nowhere. Oh, come on. So yeah, it just stopped in the middle of nowhere this time. So we've got something completely different happening. The only thing I'm going to change, well, once I can get this thing working, like it's weird. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it other than the fact that you took it apart, stupid, and now it's going to be a real pain in the butt to get it back to how it was. All the elastic bands were crossed from side to side, and you can't do that without taking both sides apart, I don't think. Oh, I can do it like this. Okay, this needs to go like that. There we go. Now. So as you can tell, I experimented with this before, or I wouldn't have had, you know, double sets of elastics and all that stuff. Like this thing was working. It wasn't, you know, not working without the filament sensor, but this thing never jammed up. So again, this printer has put us in a state where we're like ages away from getting anything fixed. This is locked. It's paused everything, but yet really it hasn't. It's just abandoned everything. It's not really paused. It's more of an abandonment than a pause. Yeah, I don't understand why this thing wasn't pulling filament out. I just did it manually. Of course, it is jammed. That's going to be so much fun. Give me a second here. Yeah, it's... Where the hell did it go? Okay. Had to get the Allen key that I tossed across the top of the printer. Because again, you know, there's no recovery from anything anywhere on these machines. The only recovery is disassembly. So, yeah. Good luck. Thanks, squirrel. Hey, Salvage. Welcome to the stream. The only recovery is disassembly. You felt that, yeah. Yeah, okay, so. Disassembly has occurred. Reassembly has occurred. We're back to stage, I don't know. Stage denial. Restart, because, you know, it has no idea what state anything is in, and there's no continuing from this. I'm gonna have to restart again anyway, because I need to go back in here. Oh, that's clicky. Oh. I hate this. It used to be so easy to just clear the cache, but not anymore. Oh well, I don't care. I just hate that, but like literally, there's no other computer anywhere that I have that does that. If I were to load up this exact same web page on that computer, it renders the image properly. I just don't get it. Is it the video card? Is it what makes this image come out like this rather than proper gray on, yeah. Of course, what would fix it is a light mode. Do they have a light mode? Language, estimate, console control, dashboard, editor, no, G-code viewer, background, no, 3D viewer. UI settings. Huh? I'm talking about why this, okay, oh, sorry. Nobody can see what I'm babbling on about. I want to know why this freaking image doesn't come up properly. It's driving me insane. Why does this image not come up properly? Where's this image? viewport. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop going on about that. But it's a real sore point with me. It's one of those things that can like literally just eat away at you constantly, no matter what you do. It's always there. Okay, so we're right now, what's happening is when we go to do the unload after we've extruded filament, it decides that it wants to mess with our lives really bad. And I don't know why it decides to do that, but it somehow every time creates a blob. Load filament, retry, unload filament, unload filament. So we're trying to do it the way they used to do it, but for some reason, because there's no filament sensor, you know what? I think something else went wrong last time. I really do. I think something else went wrong last time. I'm gonna try this. I'm just gonna leave the one retry. We got 50, we got 20, 50. This is gonna yank on the MMU. I don't know why we're yanking on the MMU. No, it's not. It's gonna go forward 10 and 20 and 60 again. So we're going 70, 60, 80, 120. I don't know. No one said it was supposed to make sense. Remember the day when you didn't have to press enter there? You could just type in the number and just tab out. Tab out. Those were the days. But now I've gotten used to hitting enter, so even on print machines like this, I still hit enter. Okay. Make awful homing noise. Carhartt? No, it's not that quality. It's some cheap mountain something brand. It's nice and lined though. Yeah, it doesn't really home in the normal sense. It just jams things into, yeah. It's just the way it goes. There's no end stops. I need to set it up so that somehow sensorless gets it, but we haven't got there. We haven't got there. We got a bunch of half Santa Clauses prints I tried to do a couple months ago that got, you know, out of a print that was about that high, they all got to about that height before the filament sensor in here flaked out. And I believe it's all, oh no, it says empty right now. I know it also says IR sensor. It's not. So, do I just want to try T1 instead? Let's try T1 instead. So loading T1. It's gonna push some T1 down that tube. Come on T1. Okay, push it into the gear, pull it up, load it to the extruder. Extrude, right? Should I extrude? We're extruding. It's not green anymore, it's turned purple, which is probably good considering that was the color of the filament. So at least it knows what T1 is. Okay. Let's do it. Unload tool. Fingers crossed. So what do you do when it works? You do it again, right? Until it fails. T1 or T0. Come on. Perfect. Closes. Awesome. Now, literally, I am going to put a micro switch on the side of that thing. And what's going to happen is as soon as the thing pushes hits the motor on the extruder, as soon as that thing hits the motor on the extruder, it's going to start to push that thing open, which is going to hit the micro switch or release the micro switch. It's going to do one. It's going to be either one or the other, which will let the board know that it's reached here. So that seems to have worked. So extrude. And there's the flushing of the purple. We've got the teal. And I'm just gonna go T2. We're gonna just go crazy here and just okay. It unloaded to the pinda. Selecting tool, the third tool, which is T2. I don't know if I've loaded T2 before. We're gonna find out if it works. It works. T2 is pink. It's loaded. It's loaded into the thing. The thing is loaded. Load complete. Extrude. It's not extruding. It didn't sound right. Something sounded off. There's no filament here. It didn't go far enough. Oh, look at that. Well, we're going to trick it into thinking it did go far enough. There we go. So I'm going to have to increase that number. I think this is where I have to think about that being a switch rather than just just an elastic band, because what's happening, of course, well, let's just do a quick extrude. So extrusion, good. Let's go to T0 again. Okay, so that's the second retry. That is the retry. And it unloaded just fine. Well, not really. It went all crazy over here. But crazy over here is fine. That I can fix. And it failed. I think. No, it didn't. It worked. It's fine. It's fine. And it seems that it's ready to go too. It's like immediately there's filament there. And that's the problem I had before. That was there was like a big gap between where it loaded, when it got the sensor, and when, you know, because the sensor's up here, not down here. Okay, so let's go to T1. There we go, moving to T1. Okay, I'm gonna walk down the hall and start making the coffee. Oh. I'm actually trying to figure out how much coffee I drink in a day. And so far, this is number 7. Trying to, you know, bring it down. Stop drinking so much coffee. Good, I'm surprised your hands aren't shaking. Nobody saw that. Okay, so we're on T2. Everything's screwed up, as you can tell. Something bad happened. But this is much more recoverable than a filament set. No, actually it isn't, because it would be printing right now. MMUs cause more coffee consumption. You know, it's funny. I think I drank a lot more coffee yesterday. Today was a very dry day. Not coffee-wise, as in like event-wise, I guess I could say. I had to basically go to a training thing that lasted from like noon, well, no, around 11, from 11 till 4. But I'd already been to most of it. So yeah, it was pretty dry seeing it all over again. I missed about an hour and a half of the whole thing. But it's in 2-day sessions. And it wasn't like I could say, hey, when was this hour and a half? I don't think they'd let me do that. I wish they would have let me do that. Okay, so what we got here is a mess. And what's happened is this. Did not. Oh, it did. It tried. Okay. Okay. So nobody can see that. This is what I'm pulling out of here. Little fibers. So either the thing that cuts this stuff off at the top is not cutting it off properly, or something is going weird in the hot end. It's always something, isn't it? Okay. Extrude. Where extrude button? Where extrude button go? I'm guessing it's audio's not working every 2 seconds. Okay. Okay, is that better? That might be better. I might have gone out of range and it got all confused and went all stupid. It does that. Do you extrude? You do. You do extrude. I'm not sure what I got loaded here. 1. Okay, so we had problems with 2. Let's try 2 again. Is everything still working audio-wise? It looks like it is. I think it failed. No, it didn't. It didn't fail. Yay! But we're getting all these little pieces. And that's definitely going to cause a failure in the long run. And it's not cutting them. That's not loading anything. It's done it again. Okay, so the problem here is well, you know what? Let's not leave it in a state that it doesn't understand. Unload. Again, more fluffy stuff. More fluffy stuff. Okay, so now, what do I need to do? I need to go into the code again. In the code again. And I need to change the distance. Load length. Unload is 518 I'm going to add 10 to each of the load lengths. So instead of 458, we're going to go to 468, and instead of 478, we're going to go to 488. See if that helps. I really need to fix this camera. I don't know why it's all cropped like that. I don't know. Maybe at one point it thought it was 4K. It was 4K at one point. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so here we go. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make, when I redesign this, I'm going to make it so it goes up here. That way, you know, the wires running and stuff like that are not such a big deal. Transform, reset transform. Whoa! Hey, look at me, I'm taking up the whole screen. Oh, really? There we go, that's better. So we got homed, we got everything. No, there's only one thing to do. P2. Okay, we got T2 loaded first time. Oh, what is that? What, how, what? What's going on? How are you moving the whole damn extruder? You see that? Can you see that thing jumping around? I don't know why it was jumping around. Like, it loaded the filament, it did everything it was supposed to. Okay, so there's that. T3. I literally don't know why I need to call that. I don't understand how it creates a blob if I don't call that function. There we go. It just loaded the green filament. I think it's green. I don't know. We'll extrude some, see what color comes out. It's yellow. I don't know what else to break. T0. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so I have a print here. If I replace T4 with T2, so it should have replaced all calls to change to the fourth color, because there is no fifth color. So I think what I'm going to do is warm the bed up, because prints don't work very well with a cold bed. You know what I'm going to do as well? I'm going to dust it off, because that's not good either. What I really should do is maybe just load up another color filament. I guess there's no change in that file back, so yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have changed it. Oh well. This chair out of the way for now. Oh, that coffee. I'm gonna go get that coffee. Okay, is the audio actually doing its thing now? Could be. Seems to be making extra noise. I actually don't know what this print is. I think it might be one of these. It might actually even be this. But, oh, yay. I broke it. I shouldn't have done that. Now I gotta print a new one. Okay, we are there. I don't have an offset set. I can't remember what it is or if there is one. See, you know, what a piece of crap. What an absolute piece of shit. I got nothing more to say than that. What an absolute piece of shit. So, yeah, it didn't do anything. It didn't load the tool. It said load tool 0 and then ignored it. And didn't load tool 0. Just went, screw it. Was tool 0 already loaded? Like, what's going on here? Like, literally, what's going on? Okay, so tool 0 was already loaded. But that it... I don't know. I'm just going to start it again. I'm like, how would it know that? So tool 0 is loaded. I guess it was good that it didn't try to load it again. It knows because it's in the Pinda. Yeah, nice. Yeah. That's what we need to set up a good print. We'll just do one loop around the outside. It's not doing anything. So I would say, it's just me, but I would say tool 0 is not loaded. I'd say you're lying. I would definitely say you're lying. When I think of the word loaded, that's not what comes to mind. Not loaded, on the other hand, I got a match. 1 second. Okay, so now that we've unloaded, filament stuck in Pinda. Oh, I'm sick of this. I am just bloody sick of this bullshit. I really am. I'm sorry, that's like, that's all this thing ever does, is get to a point where you have to abandon everything and start over from scratch. It's all it ever does, ever. It never, ever, ever works, ever. The only thing that's ever been printed out of this, well, no, that's not even properly. Nothing ever got properly printed. And now, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It would come out just fine if it would just take it out. But no, it gets into some stupid state and that's it. It just doesn't do anything anymore. That's just such utter garbage. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm on a path that doesn't lead to anything good. In both the case of the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder and this. Literal configuration nightmares. Whoops. See what I mean? Like, I just asked it to unload the tool. There's no reason in the world that it shouldn't unload the tool. The reason doesn't exist. But no, it just absolutely ignores it. It just says like, yeah, there's nothing you can do. The only option you have right now is to completely restart the entire printer. Is your only option right now. Thanks for coming. And it should never get to that point. And I think the other thing that bugs me is unload tool should always work. There's no reason when this thing has the tool selected that it shouldn't be able to unload the tool. Except for now, because of course I restarted the damn thing. It's awful, it really is. It shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. Again, what do I do? What do I do to recover from this? Take the whole damn thing apart. That's what you do to recover from this. You do it all manually. You recut your filament, you start over like, and you should smile and be happy you get to do so. Because guess what? You're gonna get to do it again in 10 minutes too. Well, I'm glad that didn't fall down. So I looked into the other software for the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder. I don't think it's going to help. But I'm going to try it anyway. Because, you know, I need something else to frustrate the hell out of me. Or enrage me. I guess that's the right word for that one. Okay. I don't know what much else we can ask for here. Everything looks like it's in place. Motors are plugged in. Everything's oh shit. Everything looks like it's reset. Did I restart this thing yet? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, I forgot to heat it up, so let's do that now. This is just like, wow. The frustration is unbelievable. Okay. T0. Loaded to Pinda. Bamboo AMS. Yeah, the advantage the Bamboo has is having a proper cutter in it. I think is the big thing. Like none of these have cutters in them. They all need a cutter. They need to be able to pull the filament back to a certain point, cut it off, dispose of the end, and then work with a fresh end every time. I think that would make a huge difference in all these printers. All these MMUs, sorry. Printers are fine. Oh, also, if we wouldn't be down this road. We would not be down this road if it weren't for the filament sensor in here. This thing printed beautifully until the filament sensor fails. And it fails because all this little crap, you know, all this little stuff that gets, you know, is that you cannot avoid. You literally, it's impossible to avoid that. And yeah, after 1,000 changes, it comes it up and it stops sensing filament changes. So that infrared sensor there, where it says right there, detected, that is probably going to break during a print. And it won't be detected, or it will be detected, and it won't actually have filament in there. And then it just ends with, cannot remove filament from extruder. Find a new hobby. Okay. Well, there we go. Let's do it. So I know now that the T0 is loaded. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah. Of course, we don't know anything until it's, you know, failed. So, you know, my first thought here, this is somewhat doing what it's supposed to. The next iteration of it will really solve problems. This doesn't really solve a problem other than the fact that filament is not always the same roundness, and as that roundness changes, the amount that a thing that's rolling it pushes changes. So 5 different filaments, this distance, we needed something to take up that space, that difference in the filament. When this thing moved. So let's get back to this. So now that works in that purpose, in that state. We're making a bunch of assumptions here. We're just assuming that the filament made it to the tool head. I don't like that. That isn't the way it should be. We need a proper sensor in there. We need a sensor that works. And it needs to be a sensor that sits inside there, like right in the middle of that thing. I don't know. That's it. I don't know. What's it doing? Okay. Just unloading the filament. Good, good. I've been looking at the bamboo store. They want $1,800 for that thing. Canadian. So it's like, yeah. Okay, it survived that. It's laying filament down. So yeah, this requires a lot of work. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to look at this. We're going to take a look at this unit here. Basically, it's something like that. I want to put a micro switch I'll put a groove down there with a pin so that a micro switch can be attached, like slid underneath a holder or something, so that as this moves, it'll hit that micro switch and hold it down for the rest of its movement. Also, I need to eliminate that. I also need to make it so it sits right up here. I don't want it down there. The only reason it's down there is because that happened to be the piece of Bowden or PTFE that I cut. So this has already solved one problem too. If we go and we look at this print, and you can see there's an artifact around the first thing, and that was because when it loaded the filament, it didn't load it all the way. So when it did its purge, it didn't purge enough. So you ended up with a trace of the last color when it went to print the pink here. You got the purple around it. But then, when it did the insides, everything was fine. It was just the outline. This isn't going to happen now because we know that everything is loading right up to the nozzle. So we have solved problems. I don't think this is going to work though. Oh, this isn't this print either. This is not this little thing. This is that big color wheel from the ERCF page. It's an enraged rabbit carrot feeder test print. So I have been looking at the other software for the enraged rabbit carrot feeder. I'm definitely leaning towards giving it a shot. It's much heavier on documentation, which I like in a way, and it sort of scares me off in another way. But I've got to finish reading through it and seeing if it's gonna, fit the bill. It will work in sensorless or sensor mode. That does have a filament sensor in it. It's flaky. It's totally flaky, the same as this thing is. In different ways though. This one's just flaky as in, oh, it works, oh, it didn't work, oh, it works, like it can just decide not to work suddenly. Whereas this one gets all bunked up with like all this stuff, all this little pieces of little tiny things of plastic, and that stops the thing from moving. So I do have an option. I have an optical sensor I can put in. But of course, as soon as you use an optical sensor, transparent filament, which, is there really any transparent filament? Yeah, I don't know. opaque filament won't work as well. And there we go, pink's loaded. That's working. It's like, I don't know what to think about this thing. I think one thing I need to visit is like a recovery routine. Where it can, like basically what we're recovering from when we're recovering is filament being stuck in the tube. So I can like type in MMU recover and it will go to tool 0, it'll rewind tool 0 back. Because it doesn't know where it is, but it does have a pinda. So it can roll tool 0 back like 600 and make sure it doesn't hit the pinda. And then roll tool 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, you know, it could do it pretty quickly. I guess as soon as it hits the pinda, it would know which tool it's actually on. But yeah, this is definitely working. Why did my computer restart? Well, that's not good. Wrong password. So I don't know what it's doing here. I'm wondering if it's trying to form the tip, but I don't know. And of course, if during a print we're not running into all of these stringy bits, then we won't have to worry about that. But I haven't been able to avoid them, and there was so much in there when I took it apart that I could see why it got clogged up and didn't work. But now we're looking good. It's going to pull the filament back. We're going to change to the yellow. And then it should change to purple again, I think, after the yellow. Either that or it's going to change to color 4, and there is no color 4 or T4. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. So I'm leaning towards it's working better than it was before. If the same failure were to happen now, of course, it wouldn't matter. But I think Yeah. Even if I were to remove this little device I've made, it would have probably still worked. We just wouldn't have been able to make up the difference between the filament radius, which changes as we run it through this machine over and over and over, back and forth and back and forth. It actually gets flatter and flatter and flatter. So as it gets flatter, what happens? I don't know. Does it push more? Does it push less? But yeah, there we go. Clean yellow. There's no color artifacts across colors. I can reprint the I can reprint this. And if you haven't, please do. And don't forget to check the like box. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Blah, 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 blah. I've done my part now, haven't I? Everybody's gone anyway. But there we go. It works. The logic in my flaw has passed. I mean, the device has somewhat made this work. See, that's the thing I really, really, really don't like about the RCF. Is that because of the just the nature of what it is, there's different lengths for every filament. You have to tune the filament when you change it. It's just there's literally 9 of them. There's 9 channels to tune. So yeah, yeah. Now my guess is this should change to purple or T2. Did I say T2? Oh, if it's T2, it's pink. T2 or T? Yeah. If I said T1, it's purple. Like even the tower looks better than the towers that were printed with the other ones. I'm thinking I can reduce the tower quite a bit. Okay, back to pink. So it was T2. But yeah, I love that. Changing that up, when I actually do change this to sit up here and have a micro switch on it, it's gonna make so much difference. Oh, it's working. It's working. And I guess now that I think about it, I don't have to have that weird mechanism for the micro switch. I can just have it so that it just attaches right to the side and butts up against the thing and just hits the button when it comes together. When it pushes it apart, lets go of the button. Yeah. That'll actually be quite easy. Though, I think the hardest part is going to be get it print nice. So now I can go print my Santa Claus again. It's as far as it got. I had 3 attempts to get this far. You know, that was only, what, 12 hours in? Damn, it was gonna look good. And then I was gonna print a big one. But yeah, every time that filament sensor in that tool head reported that reported that it had filament in it when it didn't. So every time it failed. Right now it says detected. My guess would be by the time, well, maybe not this print. The smaller prints usually finished. It was the bigger print, the one that, you know, the one that was going to take like 30 hours. And of course, stupid me, I thought, hey, yeah, I'll just leave it and I'll go to bed. And I'll set an alarm. And I'll get up every 40 minutes and check on it. And every 40 minutes I got up, it was stopped. So then the next time I'm like, okay, I'll start it first thing in the morning. That was this one. So this got started at like 7 a.m. and off it went. And then like, I was like, it was at 9 o'clock at night and it was like further than any of the others. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is going to finish just fine. And then the filament detector detected filament when there's no filament in it. And it went, no, I will not continue. Of course, I do know I could have just, you know, deleted the G code and printed from that point up. But that's not the point. That would have not accomplished anything, now would it? Empty, detected. Okay, so the filament sensor has already failed. It says detected right now. And obviously there's no filament in there. So yeah, we've already got the hardware that failed before failing again. I am really surprised, actually. I'm also really surprised that this is getting dusty again. I got that acrylic stuff to stop the dust from sticking to it, but it doesn't work. Not with this dust. Okay, and here we go. We're on layer 2. Well, actually, the last one did 2 layers. Not that there's not, like, more layers. We're on layer 2, and there's 26 of them. We're going to be here for approximately, well, it's guessing 3.5 hours. I'm guessing probably closer to 6. I really wish I could set the amount of time it takes to do a T1 or a T2 or whatever it is, and it could properly calculate that. So I think we won. Sort of. The stupid thing is I'm going to print the Santa Claus. I am. I don't know how I'm going to print the Santa Claus. Red, green, yellow, black. Oh, wait a minute, it's over here. Black, red, pink. Yeah. So with the Santa Claus halfway up, you got to change the yellow to the pink. I got to remember to do that. So you can't really run it overnight. I guess you could run the first half overnight. So the code is an absolute mess. It's still doing crap we don't want it to. We can definitely clean it up. It's definitely a workable code. Our little buffer, our micro buffer works great. Again, micro switch added to the micro buffer would definitely make it a really good tool. You could basically, what you would do then is you would just, hey, Major Gamer. What I would do then is I would basically set it up so that it went almost all the way to the head, and then it would push, 5 millimeters, check the switch, 5 millimeters, check the switch, 5 millimeters, check the switch. And then when the switch went off, you would know now that it's there. I'm not worried about it though. I'm still ecstatic with how well this is working. The thing is, of course, if I'm always going to call that retry, I may as well just move the code into the main function. I do realize that it is riding up above the... Oh, no. Switchwire and MMU2. We got a Prusa, a Voron crossover here. And what I've done is I've removed the filament sensor, and I've created a little buffer mechanism that allows me to push slightly more filament than I need down to the extruder motor, so it's pushing. This is only phase 1. Phase 2 of this is putting a micro switch on that so that I know when it's pushing. And also moving it up here so that it's not, I'm pretty sure once this gets up here, that's not going to work too well. But yeah, right now it's working awesome. Santa Claus printing, it's gonna happen. I don't care if it's March. Well, by the time it does happen, it'll be April. Maybe even May or June. But it's gonna happen. It's the only thing I can find that, well, I was gonna say that used 5 colors, but it uses 6. Empty. Filament empty. So in pushing filament in and pulling filament back out, it has fixed the sensor, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't have failed when it did that in the first place. So we would have ended up printing to a certain point, and it would have said, it would have paused and said it couldn't load the filament, or that it couldn't remove the filament from the sensor, even though it already had. Oh, I love that. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to prepare to create a micro switch, put a Voron switch on that. I'm going to prepare to move it up here, sort of a loop. Maybe I'll have to move this back a bit, maybe flip or change these mounts a little, so that the mount piece is further back. Should be easy enough. Yeah, even if I have to cut them off, move them, and reattach them. Because this would definitely need to be a little further back if I was going to have that device in here. So the ender wire and ERCF is on the things to tackle list, but I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I still don't want to deal with the ERCF. I don't. It's like, it's so hard to work with. 9 different sets of numbers for 9 different filaments. 1 set of numbers for 5 different filaments. Of course, I could see the reasoning. The two work in different ways. I almost feel as though ERCF would have been better if instead of using a servo, they would have used another stepper to screw something down to press the things down, and based everything on the amount of pressure that it put on it, not a fixed angle on a servo, and having to change up, choose one of 9 different printed top hats to see what fits, which means I have 90 top hats printed. They call them top hats, I think. The top piece of each for 9 different things of 10 different thicknesses, and like, it's just, I shouldn't be using shims basically to make a machine function properly. The machine should do that itself, in my opinion. So we'll get to that. I've been looking at the other guy's software, and I do want to know. I do. I can't remember whose software it was though. It's in my Discord. On the Discord. It is Mogiak. So yeah, ERCF software v3. We're gonna try it. We're gonna see if it gives us the tools to easily tune the device. Okay, I think this is printing solid enough for me to start thinking about supper. Yeah, this is working great. Again, of course, we all know that having the filament sensor is an awesome thing to have down there because you know filament's there, or you think you know filament's there until you don't know filament's there. So, yeah, I think, yeah, a bigger difference between the ERCF and this, though, is this doesn't have any way to physically measure the filament as it's pushed down, whereas that has the encoder. So it is able to push filament with a motor and say, oh, I pushed this much. But of course, given it that encoder, it's always complaining about, oh, I tried to push this much, but I only got this much. And you're like, oh, you got a filament sensor, try again. Just like push a little bit more. Like if you know, quit complaining and stop making me intervene to fix things. You've got all the information you need to fix it. So there's some frustrating points about the ERCF. This thing is dumb as as dumb as a rock. It has no idea where filament is. The only sensor it has is up at the top here, and it only senses that there's filament there. It has no idea how much has been pushed. So it being so dumb makes the software a lot easier to deal with. I actually my thoughts weren't that we would get to this point where I'm actually printing something today. I thought we might get to it by this point, maybe 3 hours of messing with it. But I don't think I would have made it that far, because the full reset of this every time is just, yeah. It's like the RCF. You can fight with that thing for an hour before you get it to start printing. And it might print just fine. I have got prints from it. Or it might not. But you can guarantee you're going to have that 1 hour fight. Where this seems to be working just fine, I admit that if I would have, let it go in the first place, it would probably have been fine. We might have had some weirdness on the first level. Ugh. Yeah, we'll see. This thing here, will that switch back? It's almost done. Oh, I guess it's not almost done. It's got to purge. Oh wow. We're on layer 3 already. So let's see if that actually changes. Okay, you should be done now. I don't understand what it's doing. I'm just going to say it right now. Why are you purging anything? This is not what you need to purge. You need to take this out of the extruder, push in some other filament that you want to use, and purge this out. But yet, right now, you're basically just wasting this filament. I don't understand why it does that. But look at that. It's loading the teal. It's working just fine. We're back. We're on layer 4 now. Oh no, we're still on layer 3. Oh, okay, the pink is the first layer 3. Okay, we're on the first color of layer 3. But look, I don't think there's filament in there, but yet it still says detected. Oh, there might have been. It might have not said detected, I don't know. Whatever the case may be, it's working. It's surprisingly working. We've got a print going. There's no filament sensor in the code, so that's not even a variable anymore. Okay, I'm happy with this. I'm gonna leave this go. I'm gonna let you guys go because there's no point us just standing here. I'm going to go make something to eat because I am starving. I will post to Discord the result of this, good or bad, and my thoughts on the whole thing. I'm like right now, I'm really happy that it printed. I'm happy that the little buffer is actually doing its job. There definitely does seem to be a difference between what happens when we roll the pink versus the other filament, which is kind of weird. They're all the filament there is Polymaker matte ABS or matte PLA. Polymaker, PLA Pro, PLA Pro, PLA Pro, PLA Pro. So yeah, it's all the same filament, but yet pink rolls different. As I guess it should. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next stream. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I know I'm glad I got to this point. And next time, maybe we'll see if we can tackle the ERCF and win a battle on that thing. So I guess for that we need like a massive 9 filament. Yeah, we'll see. So I'm gonna leave this here. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in the next stream. Later.